Welcome to Game Over Edmonton. Sorry about that for a second. I went to my camera and realized that I'd had my mic muted, so I was like, oh no, I better press the unmute button there. I'm here with Graham Moseman. They're not dead yet. As Ramelli says in the chat, the Edmonton Oilers live to fight another several days because now they have to fly across an entire continent essentially to continue their series against the Florida Panthers. The Oilers win 8-1 at home, and I can't imagine what it would have felt like to be in the building for this one, Graham.
Oh my God. I live I don't know, like a 15-minute. I don't know if you have Lime scooters in Montreal, like those little motorized scooters you can zip around on. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm about a 15-minute scoot away from the stadium. And I am in my office. I have all my sounding up. I can hear people from downtown through several windows. I turned off the TV for a bit just to listen to the radio call because I don't. This is maybe like super inside baseball. I haven't super loved how Sportsnet's audioed and mic'd up the Brinks in the Stanley Cup Final. So
Mm.
popped over to the radio side and I have never ever heard announcers that were struggling to be heard like that over a crowd. That was 8-1 is unbelievable.
Yeah, that was nuts, and it was like that from the first goal, right? There was a feeling in the air in this one. The Oilers looked hungry, and you know, in the terms of like the shots and the control of play in the first period, yes, Florida had the overall territorial advantage, but I think that while the Florida Panthers often look dangerous, or don't look dangerous until it's too late, I feel like the
Mhm.
Oilers tonight looked like. Every possession that they had, they were fighting for every square inch of that space, especially from some of the top guys. And that hasn't necessarily been the case in some of these games so far. I think the Oilers have overall been the better teams in terms of controlling the puck in this series, but they haven't been able to translate their possessions into those like the perfect shots that we often see the Oilers make so often. And the depth getting the scoring going in this one just seemed to be exactly what the Oilers needed.
Interesting. So I kind of felt the opposite about the depth scoring. Because for me, when we have you have that first kind of goal go in with Connor Brown looking like Leon Draisaitl out waiting everyone to kind of get the, or it was the second goal. Who can count? There were so many this evening. With the Brown Yanmark goal, that one was like, oh wow, let's go, man. Oh boy, where's Connor? Where's Leon? Where's Zach? Where's Nuge? Are they going to score? What's going to happen? And I think the biggest thing for this game, aside from the just sheer desire not to lose from the Oilers, that was really palpable. I think was a pretty noticeable systems change from Chris Knoblauch. My biggest frustration throughout the Oilers this whole series has been okay. Great, you're controlling the puck, you're controlling possession. You're not a team that can do dump and chase against the Florida Panthers. Florida plays violent. They play I don't want to say mean because that sounds childish, but like
They do.
they play to finish every single hit. And the Oilers are, well, our bigger team are not built to that type of level. And I think you saw a big noticeable shift tonight where they moved very succinctly from going from a lot of dump and chase to wait, why don't we score on the rush like we did all season and we did against Vancouver and we made LA top them out in 5 games. So I think that was a big noticeable systems change that I was really happy to see. Will it continue on now that Florida has had, oh, okay, we had our one chance with our families here and we kind of blew it. Well, we got three more. Let's polish it off.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and I think you know what, you are entirely right in that they tried to push the rush game. And I will say one thing that I particularly noticed about that was, we've talked a lot about the Panthers' incredible depth on defense and how well that defense has handled themselves
Oh, they're so
in tight
good.
spaces.
They're so good.
But it seemed like there was a marked decision tonight from the Oilers to be like, all right, then if they're this good, let's get them stuck pivoting.
Mhm.
And it was trying to get in behind their defense and stretch the middle of the ice a lot. I liked a lot of really nice passes from Bouchard at the middle tonight. I thought Broberg had some incredible seeing eye
Oh
passes that
man,
were going like almost 3 zone passes to hit a guy for an entry. And I saw a lot of Oilers fans on social, like during the game, talking about like for next year, which is something weird to talk about right now. They're excited about
Eh,
Holloway and Broberg's emergence during these playoffs, and I understand it. Like the Oilers needed guys like this to start stepping up internally, and we can argue about whether that's been an organizational problem that these guys have taken longer than maybe expected, but it's happening now, and that's perfect.
Hey, Ken Holland and his long suits will let you know that these players need to over ripen, okay?
He's got like the zoot suits.
He really, I saw him once. He's shorter than I thought, and yeah, he looks like he's wearing his dad's suits. There's a lot of crumpled ankles. Anyway, guy loves to let a player marinate, and I think this Broberg's biggest strength has always been his skating. Even like that was his hallmark, and that's what we was kind of sold the fan base. Because when he was drafted, Trevor Zegras was still on the board, and there was a lot of people going, "Hi, we can solve all of our top six problems. Why are we going for another defenseman?" I think at the time, not even 100% sure if Oscar Klefbom was done, but it's been really cool to see Broberg have his speed be such an important impact, especially when he's been on the ice with Darnell Nurse. Because you can bring out the best in Darnell Nurse when he doesn't have to do more than he's necessarily capable of doing. He's not
Yeah.
great when you really have to make him. He's a great skater. He is fast and he is powerful. But when the game starts to move a little quick, that's when you see some of the slowness and those kind of the lankiness kind of gets him caught up. Broberg doesn't have that problem, and he skates better than I'd say most of the Oilers defense, and it's been such a treat to watch that kind of explode. Same with Dylan Holloway. He kind of looks like peak Evander Kane without the meanness. Like when Evander was ripping all those goals up when he had his good seasons in Buffalo and San Jose. Well, I mean, as good a season as you can have in Buffalo. Sorry, Buffalo. Um, but he has that kind of speed, and now that he's getting that confidence to go drive towards the net, it's really paid off. And I think putting him with Leon Draisaitl and giving Leon Draisaitl better wingers was really big tonight and helping Leon kind of get going. Because the fact that before tonight, Connor, Leon, Zach, they didn't have goals, which is
Yep.
wild to say. A couple of line adjustments. I didn't super love seeing Fogel up with Connor McDavid, but that gave better wingers to Draisaitl, and here we are 8-1 later.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. And you mentioned earlier you were talking about when the depth started the scoring, you were thinking, where are the stars, right? Because that's been kind of this tale of the series for the Oilers so far, as their star forwards have not been producing, which is wildly unpredictable because they've been unstoppable these entire playoffs. Maybe the turning point of the game was when Draisaitl set up the Holloway goal,
Oh,
right?
what a great pass too. What
Like
a what a stupid pass. He's so
it's
good.
ridiculous. And then the way that Holloway was able to handle that, like to take the puck across his body at that speed and slip it just over Bobrovsky's pad under his glove, like maybe it's just good fortune that that's where the puck kind of scooped up and slid through. But what a
And you got to
beautiful,
be lucky to be
beautiful
good.
play. You do 100%. Part of it is like, I don't even want to call it lucky. It's like mastering the randomness of the game, right? You got to
Ooh,
be
yeah,
able
yeah.
to
I like that.
like control when the puck is out of control. Have yourself in the right position. It's so fast. You and I, we can go to a game and sit in the front row. Not that we could actually afford it, but if we could do that,
Mm.
but to actually experience the speed of the game at this level in the Stanley Cup Final, to score goals like that. Like a couple of years ago, I got to interview Darren McCarty, and I asked him about his famous goal uh, on the breakaway. I believe the Stanley Cup winning goal against the Philadelphia Flyers in the '90s, and he's like, you almost don't have any memory of it because it happened so fast. And he was saying like he almost like woke up when they were celebrating together, and he's like, oh, I just did that. And I wonder
Cool.
if it's like that for outside of guys like McDavid, right? Who it seems like has a plan and plays chess while everybody else is playing checkers. For most guys, wonder if you just wake up after you're in disbelief that you're able to accomplish something so intricate and nuanced in such a tight space.
I'm gonna be really excited to hear an interview with Dylan Holloway after tonight's game because
Mm.
he's been percolating for a little bit. He has all this kind of skills and talents you want. And this is his, he had a cup of coffee the league this year, played pretty well, but ultimately was like, hey, back to the AHL you go, where he was fantastic. So I just as a on a human level, I'm excited to see what he's stoked about. Is he going to be over the moon, or is he like, cool, I have 3 games to go, let's go? Like I'm really interested to see what the kind of vibe is, because as an Oilers fan, like we're probably going to lose the series. That's can never
Odds
be.
are, right?
Yeah,
At this
yeah.
stage, it's extraordinarily tough.
But it's still going to go down as one of if not the great memory of this playoff run, aside from like beating Vancouver as strongly as you did. And that's one thing I found this playoff series, this whole playoffs has been kind of interesting, almost missing in a way. There hasn't been those like crazy moments that you remember, like every part of. Like a couple years ago, it was beating Calgary and McDavid, or scoring an unbelievable goal, having one called back, and having that crazy game one. You have the Kessler play against Anaheim back in 2016,
Hmm.
when Cam Talbot's pad gets hold. Like this playoff hasn't felt like there's been these wow, those were statement kind of feature moments. And when you have like the crazy game 6 win against Dallas, there's one. You have a game like this, which you can say is another. I'm as a fan excited that in like 10 years, no matter how this series goes, we're probably gonna lose, to be like, man, remember when we won 8-1? That was cool.
I'm gonna say, I wonder if Oilers fans are just so desensitized to McDavid's greatness. They're like, the moments aren't that great. Because I
We
find
we
what
literally, me and my partner were talking about this today, because I was like, well, I wonder what his statue is going to look like. Where are they going to put his statue?
right, like,
And she's
and
like,
what
he's not going to get a statue. I was like, no, no, no. He's
this this guy in 2024 just took the all-time assist record in a single playoffs away from Wayne Gretzky in 1988.
and it's
Like,
like, okay, cool. It's neat. That's obscene. That's disgusting. It is video game. This is NHL 24 tomfoolery, and we get to watch it and have watched it for his whole career. Yeah, I think Oilers fans are desensitized a little bit until you see Connor get really hyped.
yeah,
When Connor
yeah.
does something where he's like extra elevated, that's when, oh no, no, that was cool.
I think, like, if I'm the Florida Panthers, and we mentioned Dylan Holloway, and I think what I really liked about him from this game was he was the guy to put it away. It was out of reach already in the third period, but the Florida Panthers were putting on pressure, and the Oilers weren't really pushing play, trying to generate much. I understand it. You're not going to want to run McDavid and Draisaitl out there a bunch in a 6-1 game. But
Before
then
you have
Holl
to fly in a tiny seat across the continent when your body is beat to a pulp.
Yeah, and it's not like the Panthers are not taking prisoners when they're losing. They have 3 more chances to close this out. In there, like, what have they got to lose right now by trying to hurt the, the
Yeah, exactly.
Oilers, right? So I understand from that point of view, but Holloway breaking in, and like, he made so many excellent moves on his goal. Like, he was part of that play from start to finish. It was the second goal, the 7-1 goal. I was just so impressed by him. The fact that he was so on it in that third period and grabbed every possible chance that he could in the few moments that the Oilers actually did press. I was really impressed by that statement from him. And McDavid, like, as you said, I don't even know what to say about him anymore. Like,
He's the greatest skill player of all time.
yeah,
He's the greatest. Like I've I've a few Oilers fans have been saying that for a few years, and I know Oilers fans are a lot. We're a lot on Twitter. I'm sorry.
we're
Most,
every fan base is a lot.
most of them are unhinged. But like he's he's the greatest skill player of all time. I mean, I was in Ice District before Game 3, and just kind of doing interviews with people for my radio show, and I ended up running into Kevin Bieksa and got like a quick kind of walk by chat with him. And I was like, what would you have felt like? Could you have played with Connor at the level he's at now? And he just went, no.
I love the honesty.
Yeah, because it's just he does things at a speed that is not matchable, and it's a joy to watch. And I am very excited to see that Gary Oldman looking man try to rip off another couple wins. And the next one on Tuesday, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And we're going to talk about that in a second and what this game might mean for the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. But before we get into that, I got to tell you where you can find Game Over Edmonton next season, which, if you click the Game Over Network link right below this video on the YouTube page and open it in a new tab and scroll all the way down that YouTube page to our featured channel section, you will find Game Over Edmonton featured there, where you can click it, click the subscribe button, and then drop that menu down, hit the reminder bell or the notification bell, sorry, so that you get alerted when we post live streams and videos, because that is where Game Over Edmonton content will be hosted next season. The Game Over Network Hub channel right now that we're building up is for special events, things like the World Juniors, draft night perhaps, all sorts of that stuff. Each individual market will have their own channel, so please subscribe to those. It really will help us out. We need 50 subs on each channel in order to live stream next year. It's not going to be an issue, but hey, jump over there, subscribe to Game Over Edmonton, where you will get your Game Over Edmonton hosts all next season, not some dude from Montreal. All right, I was watching the broadcast, and as they do, they've got to take the fun and project some doom and gloom. They mentioned that the last four Stanley Cup champions, the first time they were champions, I guess they were taking Tampa's first win. When they first had a chance to close out the series, they failed. And then the next game, all of them won. And there was some feelings when the game started to get more out of control in this one. I felt a memory twinge in the back of my mind, 2006 in Game 6, where the Oilers were absolutely incredible, left it all on the ice, and then Game 7, we all know how it goes. Who were alive back then or watching hockey back then? It sucked. It sucked a lot. Is this the dead cat bounce game from the Edmonton Oilers, where they throw everything in the kitchen sink out there, they win 8-1, and then lose 1-0 in Game 5?
Man, that's so hard. The biggest thing the '06 team was incredible for so many reasons, mainly because they didn't probably deserve to be there in a lot of ways. Like they didn't that team got in the playoffs with a day left in the regular season, and then Chris Pronger, who is the best defenseman in Edmonton Oilers history. Sorry, he was only here for a year. No other defenseman has hit that level. Bang that drum until I'm old. Um, he dragged that team kicking and screaming to the final. And you now have a player who has broken a Wayne Gretzky record. You
Yep.
have another player who, if Zach Hyman had been producing like he had him all season, he already would have smashed Fernando Pisanti's 14 goal record. Right now, they're tied for goals in the playoff. You have, our big offensive defenseman for the Oilers that year was, oh boy, aside from Pronger, uh, Marc-Andre Bergeron.
Yaro Spacek was actually great.
Oh,
in that
Yaroslav
run.
Spacek.
He was fantastic in
That's
that run.
a good. Oh man, I forgot about Spacek. Man, he was good.
I remember thinking that Dick Tarnstrom, who the Oilers acquired before that run, was gonna like
Be the guy to hold him on. No,
because he was on that unbelievably shitty Penguins team, but he just racked up points, and then he came over to Edmonton and like didn't play.
No, I think he had 3 games and he blew on his knee. Not to turn into guys naming players they used to know, but like that team had so many. Like Mike York was on it. Mike Pekka was a player on that team. Like
Pekka
all right.
was great that run too.
And so like this Oilers team has definitely more parts and more abilities to hang on for another game. I think it's really important to note if the Oilers do have any chance of making this series go to 6 games, you can't have another game where Connor, Leon, and Zach don't produce.
Yep.
Right. And if this is, if you want to say this might be their breakout game, man, watch out, because the depth has been good. I mean, we
It has.
got goalied in game one. You had a late push in game three. Game two is weird for all sorts of reasons. If this is like an awakening moment for Connor, Leon, and the big names in this team, watch out, because we've seen Connor single handedly destroyed the entire Calgary Flames franchise,
Yeah.
and he can just do that. So I think as the dead cat bounce, I'll give you a solid 40. Oh no, that's me being a fan. I'll say it's a solid coin flip. I'll give you a coin flip on a dead cat bounce or not. But if the Oilers stars come in and perform well on Tuesday and come back with a win, bets are off. Like,
Yeah.
all bets are off.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that when you look at this series, and both of these teams are just straight up excellent teams, right? They are excellent teams. And there's a possibility that the Oilers don't win the next game because Florida's awesome.
Which is honestly the most likely scenario. It is
It,
the
it is
most
the
likely
most likely
scenario.
scenario. However, then you look at, there's now a dent in that Sergei Bobrovsky armor that dominated the narrative of the first three games, right? Or at least the first two games. And if you can push through that, if that's no longer a mental hurdle for the Edmonton Oilers, they can absolutely win three more games in a row. They've proved it multiple times this season, even against teams as good as the Panthers. Romelli in the chat says the Oilers lost 3 in a row 3 times this season. The first time they won the next 8. The second time they won the
That was
next
the start of the
6.
16, right? Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
start of the 16.
Then the second time they won the next 16, and the third time they won the next 5. So we never know. Yeah, 100%. And playoffs are different, obviously. And I don't want to sound delusional here. And like Graham and I have said, the most likely scenario is the Florida Panthers are going to win the Stanley Cup this year. It's a huge hurdle for the Oilers to get there at this point. However, one thing that I'm looking at right now with the Oilers, if I'm an Oilers fan, as much as the result here is more likely to be heart and soul crushing than not, I look at next year as well, and now you've got a full year of Holloway and maybe Broberg joining the ranks. You've got a little bit of flexibility to maybe make some improvements over guys like Cody Ceci on defense.
Please, please, please,
And the cap
please, no
crunch
more.
doesn't come until the following season when Bouchard and Draisaitl are up for contract, right? So yeah, it's horrible to get this far and lose, but also looking forward to next year, who in the West scares you?
Vancouver.
Like, I don't know.
Vancouver,
Honestly,
Vancouver
I don't know
rocks,
if
man. Vancouver rocks. They're so fun.
they are fun, but I don't know if they can reproduce the magic that they had this year. I think in terms of like getting to this stage next season, it would not surprise me even a little bit if the Oilers are in a better situation this same time
Oh,
next year.
not at all. And I mean, if you get a year of development out of Holloway and a full year of Broberg, which would just be great. I mean, I think you could look at Vinny Desharnais, probably pencil him in for even more of a full-time slot next season without a Cody Ceci. Broberg up full-time. A big one is Evander Kane going to be an LTIR casualty for another season, because it feels like it's starting to turn that way for that player.
Yeah.
The other one is a Jack Campbell buyout. You save 3. I mean, I guess I don't know how long is cap friendly going to be up. I can't check the numbers for. Thanks,
Yeah.
Washington.
Jeez.
Although congrats to the cap friendly guys, because that's just awesome for them. That's so dope. They deserve that. But like, you buy out Jack Campbell, find an improvement on goal. Yeah, we could be talking about this next year, but who cares about next year? Because we have Tuesday. Can't start next year until we get
It's
through
true.
Tuesday.
It is too early to be talking about next year. It really is. But also, I just hope that the vibe in Edmonton after this win is like rocking. That feeling that everyone had in the arena is dispersing through the fan base, even if doom may be impending.
If the Stanley Cup had been handed out tonight, I guarantee not a single soul would have left that building.
Yeah.
You would have had Gary Bettman get a chorus of boos from 18,500 people, and as the Florida Panthers were raising the cup, you would have heard people chanting, "Let's go Oilers."
100%. 100%. All right. In a moment, we're going to talk about the keys to the Oilers coming back in this series. And then, of course, we will take a couple questions from the chat if those are interested. We'll try to get through this quick because I know that Graham has a hard out here. But before we get into the next segment, let me tell you where you can find Game Over Winnipeg next year. Game Over Winnipeg is broadcasting from the Game Over Network channel for right now during the playoffs. However, in October, the network relaunches for real, and Game Over Winnipeg gets its own channel. So for all of your Winnipeg Jets content, fun, news, and analysis, head on over to the Game Over Winnipeg channel from the Game Over Network channel. Open it in a new tab right now, scroll past my ugly mug, all the way down and click on the Winnipeg channel from our featured channel section. Click subscribe and make sure you hit that reminder bell so that you get notified whenever we post a video or go live. Tell all your Jets fan friends and family to come check out our awesome community. We promise they won't regret it. And make sure on this video you smash that like button right into oblivion. Welcome back. I am Andrew Berkshire here for Game Over Edmonton with Graham Moseman from Chuck 92.5 in Edmonton. And the Edmonton Oilers have won one game in this series. They need to win the next three as well. Graham, I think we haven't mentioned him so far in this show. I think one of the keys is Stu Skinner plays like he did tonight.
Oh, he was when it was 2-1 and Florida was really starting to push.
Oh, that save on the 2-on-1.
Oh man, Stu had a couple of really, really, really nice moments in this game, and it's been a classic for him this year. If he has a rough go, he'll come back and he'll crush it. That's just seems to be how Stu Skinner goes, and he. I wouldn't be surprised if the kind of thing of being like a guy from Edmonton, grew up playing hockey at the Southside Athletic Club, played hockey in Alberta, has a Stanley Cup Final that he's starting in at home. That's a big moment to fight through. And now it's at this point, now that because you're down 3-1, it's all kind of found money because everyone's kind of out and Edmonton out anyway. So Stewart can hopefully take some of that pressure off and just play like he has been playing. He's been playing the puck a lot less, which I appreciate so much because that was a curse from Mike Smith that got handed down to other older goalies who thought they could do it too. Shut up. No, you can't. Stop it. Yeah, nothing but good things to say about Student Night. He was great.
Yeah, he had to show up in moments, the game was in trouble at moments. Especially
absolutely.
In that first period. It could have gone the other way if he had faltered a little bit. I thought especially in the third period when the Panthers were really pouring it on and there was a lot of chaos in front of the net, pucks bouncing everywhere. Skinner was really on top of it. And I think this is kind of when he's at his best, I find, when things are a little bit chaotic and it's more about puck tracking than like finesse. And when he's on his game and tracking the puck well.
That's such a good point.
Good.
Yeah, Stu's interesting because he's not gonna, the people say the great things about Bob are he can beat you technically and then he can turn his bones into liquid and just across the net somehow, where that's never gonna happen for Stu. But
Stu's like a little more choppy, he's not smooth.
He's a very staccato kind of goaltender because he gets to his spot and he stays there, and it's very boom, 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 boom. And when it's on, it's so fun to watch. When it's not on, we're having a bad time. I did want to say this Paul Maurice quote, which is of course awesome. Not a lot of silver linings here, people, but Bob got some rest, so we'll take that.
Oh God,
I love.
He
Paul
is
Maurice.
a quote machine.
I love him so much. Anyway, that's good for Bob to get his rest, but yeah, I don't know. Let's wait till Tuesday. Let's see.
Yeah, 100%. I guess the other thing that I was looking at here is like in terms of turning points, things that can change the series. I thought specifically there was one play that woke up Leon Draisaitl in this one, and like still his shooting is not on target. I don't know.
I think there's something wrong with his hand.
Yeah, I know that he has an issue with a finger because it was wrapped in the Dallas series, like before the Dallas series. But it seems like it's messing with his shot because they're all off target. They're either short or like off the post. He's hit the post like 4 times tonight.
Oh, it's been crazy, and there's a little less velocity on that shot because like a lot of times with when he's on the Leon spot, he'll shoot that ridiculous one timer. It's I don't know how many times it would hit a goalie and go through because
Yeah.
there's so much torque behind it, and that doesn't seem to be there like it was. So what
No.
was I'm fascinated to see if we were thinking of the same play though.
Okay, so he in the first period, Draisaitl had the puck in the Oilers zone, and he was trying to like just exit it, but he was under pressure,
Mm-hmm.
and he was about to get checked, and he threw the puck, horrible pass over to Cody Ceci, who was also directly under pressure right away. And I know that Draisaitl was trying to keep the play alive, and maybe he didn't have very many options, but I thought it was really casual and like a really like it wasn't a heads up play. You know, it's Cody Ceci.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the best in the like an ideal situation in terms of handling the puck. Give a bad pass in his feet while he's under pressure, he's going to give up the puck. Play continues, and then I believe the Florida Panthers scored their one goal of the game on that play, and then right away it's Draisaitl who's on the rush, getting that zone to set up the Holloway goal, and I feel like that casual play and being immediately punished for it kind of snapped him into high gear a little bit, and I thought he moved his feet a lot more consistently after that play.
Yeah, Leon Draisaitl's at his best, whether he's either unable to move at all or is moving as good as he possibly can. If there's a medium, it's not as good as it could be. Um, so yeah, I think it was interesting to see him kind of fall back into into one of his greatest skills, which is passing. I mean, he gets so many accolades as a goal scorer from these weird, obscene Pythagorean theorem wacky angles. But it's when he has a full view of the ice and it's almost watching like a quarterback in football.
Yeah.
Like see where the player's going, where the defense is going, and where he's going to hit someone on a post route. And I think if his shot is not where it is and he's not scoring from the Leon spot as he has been, like has been his series, we haven't scored, power play has been brutal. You know, that's where a turning point has to be. And him going back into that full, okay, I'm just gonna make passes that nobody else can and make sure people are in a position to score where you don't think they should be.
Yeah. I think maybe I'm playing like armchair psychologist here, but it seemed to me like Draisaitl didn't react well to like the lack of goal scoring from himself in the Stanley Cup Final.
He
Like
gets
it
hard on
seemed,
him. He gets when the big players don't produce, Leon gets hard
yeah,
and
he takes
on
it
himself.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of players are like that. You know, that's part of why like sports psychologists are on every team's payroll right now.
Yeah.
Like I remember, you know, when I was first cutting my teeth in the media industry, talking about like Montreal, that was always a thing with Lars Eller. Just like every mistake was like the biggest end of the world. And I forget who I was talking to recently. Alois Hemsky. I was talking to him for an interview that I did with Betway, and he had mentioned that after the game, like he could never remember good plays because the good
Yeah.
plays just flowed in what he was trying to do. But every mistake, it was like all he could think about. Every
Yeah.
mistake was like a highlight reel in his head of all of his bad plays. And it's easy to see how that can mess you up, especially short term.
Well, and especially when you're so used to performing at this just obscene level, being one of the top at, you know, for periods of time, one of the top two players in the National Hockey League. When things aren't clicking like you want them to, high performers don't do well when they're not high performing. And you know, that's one thing I think has been a bit underratedly reported. And we talked about Leon's kind of leadership style because he is the, you know, get your head out of your toes, like we're putting
Yep.
this together and we're gonna F and win this one, boys. Where Connor's the much more calm, measured. Look, here's how we're gonna do it, and there is a ferocity and intensity to Connor that is very. It's like a subtle, like a very very powerful kind of river that kind of keeps him going forward all times. And Leon's the one that'll show up with a thunderstorm and pull people into the game.
Yeah. 100% with you. All right, let's get some questions in from our amazing people in the stream chat here. But first, I have a question for Graham. But before I get to that question, Peter Klein from Calgary is going to tell you where to find Game Over Calgary next year. And all you Edmonton fans, go subscribe to Game Over Calgary and tell them the Flames suck, because let's be real here. They do. They're a terrible team.
I like Pete,
but
though. Pete's
be
good
nice. Be nice to Peter, but like he knows the Flames suck. He's not going to argue with you. Hey, listen to Peter.
Game Over Calgary is relaunching in October. For all your Game Over Calgary content, make sure you subscribe to our Calgary-specific YouTube channel. Open the Game Over Network YouTube page in a new tab from this video, scroll past Andrew talking, and click on the Game Over Calgary channel in our featured channel section. Click subscribe and make sure you hit the drop-down menu to get notified when we post videos or go live. Tell all your Flames fan friends and family to check it out and join our awesome community. And make sure you smash the like button on this video right into oblivion.
All right, we're back on Game Over Edmonton. And Graham, I'm sorry I lied. It's not really a question, it's more of a comment. Watching these playoffs and watching the Edmonton Oilers go on, I've never felt more "that's Alberta, all right" than watching Stu Skinner's commercial on these Oilers broadcasts.
California Closets?
California Closets, which I hope they're a great company because they're sponsoring Stu Skinner and that mustache. I love it. I'm not trying to trash them at all, but what an insanely niche thing to land on a national broadcast in the Stanley Cup Final. The amount of cash they must be fronting to have that commercial, because like, listen, it's very cool. I would love to have a personally built, super organized, fancy closet, but how many people can afford that, man? It can't be that big of a clientele, even in Alberta. Times are rough, but I look at that, I'm like, that's Alberta, man.
Let's
get them fancy closets.
The commercials are so funny this round of for this on a national stage, because you go from that to I'm not super up on my Ontario politics, whoever the liberal leader is in PC, where they're just she's friends with Justin Trudeau, she's expensive, and we're just like, okay, cool, I don't know, bring us our closets back, bring back Stu, we want our closets. I don't know, people in Alberta are spending money on weird stuff right now. I was poking around the Calgary subreddit, and I don't know if this is true, just take it with a grain of salt, but there were a couple people that were saying that they had specifically bought Florida jerseys and were coming up to Edmonton and then bought tickets for this game so they could, quote, watch the Oilers lose. So if people can spend money on hate team spite, you can probably spend it on some very fancy closets from the closet people. I'm going to stop saying their name. They're not paying either of us. Stu Skinner will tell you about the closet people.
We're just trying to support our man, Stu Skinner, who David W. says Skinner's been inconsistent, but has no doubt helped the Oilers get as far as they've gotten in this postseason. Goaltending helps teams wins cups, and these Oilers aren't out of this cup final just yet. I agree. I think there's been moments where Stu Skinner's been great. There's been moments where he has been the opposite of that. But for the most part, he's been steady, and that's what the Oilers needed to get this far. I should say, I'm not trashing on anybody who wants to have a custom-built closet. It's cool, man.
Oh, no. Andrew hates the Elites Berkshire over
here. No, I do.
I know.
But I don't. The custom-built closet is like upper middle class to me. But yeah, it's, you know, if a closet manufacturer or designer would like to sponsor Game Over, I'm all ears. I got nothing against you. It just seems
well done.
Bit niche. But hey, you know, then the Oilers 50-50 got up, what? Did it get to like 14 million in this game?
Okay, so Edmonton, we have a problem with the 50-50. We are a city of degenerates. I had a really good laugh at an article on The Athletic about how crazy the Blue Jays 50-50s have been this year. I had one that was $48,000. That's cute. Yeah, the Oilers, when they realized they were like cashing in on like $1 million per 50-50, they started to institute special ones to like really raise money for their foundation. And so this is, I think, a 2-game total.
Okay, that makes more sense.
But like $14 million for 2 hockey games,
that's a lot,
is disgusting. And like, It's a little. It's not the same as it used to be because what a 50-50 used to be. You got to buy your ticket from that smelly kid that's trying to raise money for his football team with a
Yep.
jersey he hasn't washed, and you get all your little slips, and that's all you get. And when they call the number out, if it's a blowout, you throw your paper in the air and you leave. And they don't do that anymore because anyone can get a 50-50 ticket from anywhere, and you don't have to be in the building to claim it. The 50-minute timer is gone, which
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad about because I thought that was fun. But I don't know. You have a whole province that can bet on it. I did love a couple years ago. It was Calgary and Edmonton. They called it the Battle of the 50-50s. And I'm sorry, Calgary, you didn't need to try. It wasn't. This is a city of degenerates. We love a 50-50.
Yeah, the Edmonton 50-50 is legendary at this point. I don't think anybody can compete with it in this league.
Sickos. We're sickos.
It's something. It's something to maybe be proud of. I don't know, but it seems that half the money goes somewhere worthwhile. At least that's a good thing.
I'm sure the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation is very happy today.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Graham. Luke Venables says, "How you feeling, Oilers fans?" I think pretty decent, right? Oilers fans are feeling pretty good right now.
If we, you know what,
It's found money.
I thought we were done after game 2. I was like, nope, Panthers are too good. Going to enjoy the memories, and even if this series goes as it probably will on Tuesday, we're gonna have this memory of an 8-1 win and people scream singing Shania with a minute and a half left in the game. That ruled.
That's right.
That was so good.
I gotta hand it to the Oilers, getting like Our Lady Peace and Shania for their openers. That's like dropping some big Canadian bombs there.
Can I say, I thought the song that they had her play for the broadcast, I was like, no one knows what this song is. Is this new? No one's singing. What's happening? At least because I went to go see OLP on game 3. Like, bless OLP. They know what they're here for, right?
Yeah.
We're checking off the CanCon box, and everyone knew every word because every one of those songs have been on Canadian radio since 1994.
100%. 100%. All right. The Oilers are back in the series kind of a little bit.
Game 2.
We'll see if they can pull it off.
Let's go.
Game 5 in Florida. Hits in 3 days. We'll be there on Game Over Edmonton. Graham, thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Hopefully the Oilers continue this a little bit longer.
A game 6 back here will be really cool. Game 6 will be really cool.
Why not? Why not? Let's get it done. All right, we'll see you then.